Hello, thank you. I'd like to start with a quote. The late Grady Oval. Some of you probably know who that is. He said, "The human mind is a wonderful thing. It begins to work the moment you're born and only stops when you have to speak in public." I want to start by asking two questions. First question is, how many of you out there at your work, or whether you own a business or you work for somebody else, how many people feel that your success in that endeavor is related to the success of our valley? Good. How many people here think that we have achieved our potential as a valley to date? I think I'm talking to the right group here. This is good. That's what I want to talk about today, is how we're going to achieve our potential as a community, as a valley. And I want to do that in the context of talking about marketing. So, why am I talking about marketing? I didn't want to be a marketer. I never thought I'd be a marketer. I have a degree in psychology. And when I got involved in video production in 2006, telling people stories, we told them up front, we're not marketers. We'll happily tell your story for you. We'll do it great. It'll be beautiful, but we're not going to get involved in the marketing end of things. I don't know why we did that. It seems really silly now, but absolutely we weren't going to get involved. But what happened was we would do a great job on a video or telling somebody's story, and then sometimes it didn't go anywhere. And we discovered right away that if our clients weren't successful, then we weren't successful. So immediately we began to start thinking about marketing, and we would be creating concepts for our clients that included marketing, and then we'd be including how it might be distributed out to the market. So we got really involved with this. But I wanted to take that a little bit further, and that is that, yes, I want to be successful. I want to do a good job. I need to do a good job for my clients. But there's this whole environment, Wenatchee Valley, that needs to be raised up as well, because if we can raise the whole Wenatchee Valley as far as our potential, then each individual inside that will be successful as well. And you guys said that. We're all connected. My individual job is related to the economic success of this valley. So that's what I want to talk about today. So when we decided we want to be marketers, let's go, okay, how do we learn to be marketers? So historically, I looked back and I went through and looked back to the beginning of sort of marketing as an industry and found a guy named Henry Selfridge. And maybe some people have heard of Selfridge's, which is a store in London. It was started around 1900. And this guy is given the credit of being an amazing marketer. And what he did was he made shopping an experience. All of a sudden, instead of being a chore, you had fun going shopping. And he would bring in, for example, he brought in the first airplane that crossed the English Channel. He brought that into his store. He also invented window displays. So he turned what was a mundane chore of going and getting the groceries into this great adventure. He's also coined the term, the customer's always right. Probably heard that before. So this guy, in a time when they didn't have TV, they didn't have internet, they didn't have a lot of the things we would call, at our fingertips now as far as marketing goes, he was making it up, but what he was doing, he was providing a value. He was providing an experience, and then he was letting everybody talk about it. And I think that's really important. He had an absolute value, a great product. He made it exciting. He made it authentic. And then people got excited about it. They came back, and they shared it. You heard that word, share. That's kind of important. So there are probably two revolutionary moments in marketing over the last 100 years. And the first one, you can probably guess, is the TV. Right? So as of the 80s, I think that's probably when TV hit its peak. Just about every, I don't know what the statistic is, but just about every household in America has TV. And that's a huge marketing opportunity, right? We've all sat in front of the TV, and we've been interrupted by a marketing message, and it's called interruptive marketing. And we sit back, and we watch our show, and then every 12 minutes or whatever it is, they break through, and then they interrupt us and say, here's a message. And they hope that it applies to you. It's one way. It is not engaging. It's not interactive. It's passive. So I want to show one little example of that. See if I can figure out the remote here.
It certainly is a big bun.
It's a very big bun.
Big, fluffy bun.
It's a very big, fluffy bun.
Where's the beef?
Some hamburger places give you a lot less beef on a lot of bun.
Where's the beef?
At Wendy's, we serve a hamburger we modestly call a single. And Wendy's single has more beef than the Whopper or Big Mac. At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun.
Hey, where's the beef? I don't think there's anybody back there.
You want something better. You're Wendy's kind of people.
Okay, we probably remember that one, right, from the 80s? So there's two things I think are really, really important about marketing this way, this non-interactive, interruptive marketing. First one is that it divides our culture into kind of two places. The big marketers want to figure out where you are and get to you, right? They want to get that message out to you. And so we're divided into two places, popular culture and sub-pop culture, right? So the popular culture is the people hanging out watching Cheers, Friends, Seinfeld, right? A few of us out there probably in that culture. Subculture is people watching VH1 and MTV. We're really divided in those two things, in those two places, and we're getting hit and barraged by this marketing all the time. And it's effective. I mean, this is truly an effective way. I mean, they wouldn't be doing it. But what I don't like about it, besides the fact that it's not engaging, it really makes the big guys who have the marketing dollars to have a national campaign, they have this huge advantage over the local communities. Nobody in Wenatchee is going to have a national campaign ad in the 80s to sell their wares to the local community. It's just not possible. So I don't like it for that reason. The other giant revolution, obviously, is the internet. And what is so profound to me about the internet is that we basically have introduced choice again. We have introduced the ability to interact with our markets again and have them engage with us. This is very profound and is vastly different than it's been for the last 80 years with interruptive marketing. So who here's on Facebook? Most of you. How many are using Facebook as part of your business? Great. So there's a guy, his name is David Meerman Scott, and he wrote a book about marketing. It's a great book, you should read it. But I love his analogy. His analogy is that the internet is like a city. And he says, so you've got Amazon, and that's a mall, right? eBay, that's a secondhand store. LinkedIn, that's a business lunch or a networking lunch, right? He said Facebook is a cocktail party. So imagine you're at a cocktail party and somebody runs in the door, runs around the room, hands everybody a card, and says, buy my stuff, I'm really cool, and then leaves. Do you know anybody on Facebook like that? It doesn't work, right? I mean, that kind of thing does not work. So what I'm trying to get the point across here is that we're all engaging in this community on the internet now. We're all there, we're all talking, and authenticity is the key moment. You can't do those things. You're breaking the mores of the rules, but people don't seem to quite understand that when they're dancing around on Facebook. People truly want to engage. And we can go back to Selfridge and think about what he had to say was, people want authentic moments. They want to be able to engage with each other. They want to communicate. They want a relationship. And right now, that's happening all over the internet. Think about it. And from a marketing point of view, it's absolutely having a giant effect on business. Think about TripAdvisor. Think about Yelp. Think about comments. Comments are absolutely changing the way that businesses are succeeding or failing based on engagement. So we have a highly engaged group of people out there, and as marketers and as people, we're trying to get our message out to those people. We've got to engage them. But there's a big problem out there, and some of the other speakers have alluded to that, is that there is so much digital noise out there that it's almost impossible to break through. I just read yesterday, for every second that goes by, an hour of media is loaded up to YouTube alone. Think about that. So, how do we rise above all the digital noise? And the answer is teamwork. And the context of this discussion, of course, is how does Wenatchee raise itself up? How do we as a community work together to build a better Wenatchee? And my answer is teamwork. And I want to show you a video this is a North 40 video. Is it going?
On board any Washington State ferry as a sailor. Oh my God.
Okay, this is a bicycle ad. And what I think is profound about this ad is a couple things, but coming back to teamwork. So we were hired to make this ad for Diamondback, and what they want is for everybody to know about their new bicycle, right? But they know that their network is not big enough, and they need to go out and find more people to see this ad to want to buy the Honjo. So they partner with Outdoor Research. Outdoor Research has an absolute stake in selling clothing that people who ride bikes might want to buy, right? So they get on board, they give us their president, they like it so much, and he's our subject. But then they communicate with whom else? REI. REI has a stake in selling this bike because they're a retail. Jensen USA does. So they get them to distribute it. Well, next month is commuter month. And so there's a bunch of environmental people out there, fitness people. All these people who are concerned with this topic of commuting are now on board. So you see, the idea is to connect all those dots, all those people around this topic of commuting. You know, yeah, Diamondback paid for it, but now all these people are going to get the advantage of using this to their own ends. That is the secret to getting a marketing message out to a large audience and get it above the noise. In addition, there are people who have blogs about bikes and blogs about commuting, blogs about health. What's interesting, I think, about Facebook and about the world we live in now is that we are all content providers. We are all broadcasting, whether it's your Instagram on your phone or a comment about your ham sandwich. We are all broadcasters, so we have to be able to work together to reach our markets in that way. Great example. I just got an email today from Jordan, from Mission Ridge. And what did it say? It said, hey, Mission Ridge is on King 5's list of best, tell me, what was it? Best? Northwest Escapes. And he's asking people in his network to join in and say yes to that and vote for Mission Ridge so we can win. Every person in this room, in fact, every person in this valley should get on board and say yes to that. Why? Because we all have a stake in the success of Mission Ridge. It's our economic development or economic driver for our wintertime economy. It fills our restaurants and it fills our breweries. I was looking for Jim. It's a huge part of our success as a valley. So when Jordan sends that out, as a community and people who understand marketing and understand the message, we need to get on board. I hope every single person in this room finds that link and votes for Mission Ridge right now or after the show. because it's important that we work together as a community to get our voice out. So anyway, to kind of wrap this thing up about marketing, I think it's imperative that we absolutely have to have a voice together. We have to be authentic. I want to show one more video here really quickly, and I think the pinnacle of marketing, the essence of the best message, is to reward the values of your audience. What are their convictions? Don't talk about me. Don't say, I'm great, you're going to love this, it's going to be awesome. Talk about them. Talk about what they believe in. Reward what they believe in. And this is a campaign by Chipotle, and I have to say that it is probably the best marketing piece I've ever seen. Is it going? Oh yeah, it's going.
Just guessing at numbers and figures, pulling the puzzles apart. Questions of science, science and progress don't speak as loud as my heart. Nobody said it was easy. It's such a shame for us to part. Nobody said it was easy. No one ever said it would be so hard. I'm going back to the start.
So I'm going to quickly wrap this up, but the idea is we're rewarding the value. We're not talking about our product. We're talking about the story. We're rewarding the values of the person who's watching it. So in summary, we've got to start with a valuable product, and I think that we have one in Wenatchee. We've got to find our story. We've got to be authentic. We've got to engage our audiences, and we've got to do it continually. We can't just throw it out there once and say, hope you guys come. It's got to be an interactive relationship where we continue to support it as time goes on. We've got to engage them, and in the end, if we can reward the values of our markets, they will become loyal patrons. And if you can't do that, be funny. Thank you very much.